my origins, my roots are not as a DJ. I didn't start off being a DJ's DJ. You know, I didn't go out watching DJs. I didn't go to clubs. I was seriously 15 years old in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, just at home writing electronic music for many, many years. And then I had a song that I released that went really, really well on Beatport. It was a Beatport #1 song. I started getting requests to go DJ. And I was like, you know, this guy's like, I'll pay you $500 to come to Portland and DJ my party. And I'm like, well, let me learn how to DJ and I will do that for you. For one reason or another, my DJing happened to go very well, and I kept releasing music, and suddenly a lot of bigger artists were into me, and they put me on some tours. And you know, not to say that I wasn't proud of the music I was making at that time, but I almost felt like I chanced into it. I didn't follow this aspiration to be this big DJ. I didn't have this goal to be the next #1 DJ in the world. I just kept taking the opportunities that were being given to me and just doing my best at all of them, and trying to DJ in a way that I would enjoy and do what I thought was fun in that context, and kept releasing music. And then I released a song called Language, which I felt was risky at the time because I had only released really bangery, like bassline electro stuff. And then this song comes out and is a little bit more sensitive and more emotional, and it became my biggest song. And that to me was very vindicating, and I was like, well, maybe I'm just way better at writing music that's sincere, and maybe I will, you know, have a better outcome. I can make better music if I cast off everything. Like, I took that notion to the extreme, that if I get a little more honest in my music, it'll work. I took that to the furthest extreme and said that if I like cast off everything, even the fact that I'm supposed to be known as a DJ, this idea that the music needs to make people jump up and down, what if I just totally eschewed all of that in favor of the most personal thing I can make? And once I started writing music with that in mind, I was hooked. It was the most gratifying thing ever. I was so in love with writing music again. DJing is interesting because that's why I kept calling EDM functional, and I think that upset a lot of people. But I think that there are requirements when you're making a big main stage smash song. There are rules, there are things you have to do, and if it doesn't succeed in making people jump up and down and go crazy, then the song is not successful. It fails as an EDM song. And all of those constraints, to me, were really, really, really hurting the music that I was writing. Trying to have every song have like a like a build-up for 30 seconds for no other reason other than to warn people that a climax is coming. It was just seriously getting in the way of any real expression, I felt. That's why I kept calling dance music in general and EDM functional, and I think that DJing is a part of that. And with that being said, you know, party music must exist, and it's fun. And I went to a pool party in Las Vegas the other day, and I had a great time, you know, listening to music that I would never listen to in the car or in my headphones, but just, you know, enjoying the atmosphere of a crazy party. I think I've softened on that position a little bit. I don't think that it is like necessarily bad, but it's just not the music that's really in my heart, and it's not what I feel I need to be writing at the moment. And so for me to come out publicly and really criticize EDM, I still think that was necessary for people to understand where my head was at and why I wasn't writing these bangers. I think it helped people along when I went 2 years without releasing anything to understand. If I came back from that period with inexplicably different music, I feel like that would be a disservice to my fans, to not at least help them understand. And people have fully come along with it, so I feel really good about it. I like the way God, I mean, I was talking about J Dilla earlier, and just the whole like late beat score. I just love the way that like sometimes like a kick drum won't hit exactly on the 8th or 16th note, and yeah, the whole sensibility of his music is very like swingy. And I mean, that most recent Lord remix was so good, man. I think that's like the song of the summer, for me at least. And I think he's opened up the world a little bit to a lot of producers on SoundCloud who are interested in making, hip-hoppy kind of melodic beats music that isn't solely focused on like these big trap banger drops. I don't know, he's very musical to me, and I also just think in terms of sound design and engineering, he's a great producer. The thing that I like about that kind of cheesy 2000 era pop rock, I think that, I was talking to one of my friends recently about the types of chords that I use, and he remarked, and he loves the album, he remarked that I don't really use like weird black key chords a lot. If you were looking at the scale as though all the songs were transposed into A minor, C major, I just use white keys, more or less. Those are my favorite chords, and it has this certain kind of epic emotional atmosphere that I don't like to break. And I just love those chord progressions, man. I was listening to this Michelle Branch song called Breathe the other day, and I just love the chorus's chords. I would totally use them, Just that, I think it's just the notes that they tend to go for, and the harmonies. They're not incredibly sophisticated, advanced harmonies, but they're not straightforward pop, triumphant harmonies either a lot of the time. I think that there's a little bit of vulnerability there. I mean, 1,000 Miles, as much as it had all these syncs, and now people kind of laugh about it. But the first time I heard that song, like, the radio would be on in the car all the time when I was real little, and I would never take interest in pop music, but I heard that one and I was like, her voice is so beautiful, and that riff is so awesome. I think the reason that I noted in that tweet that, like, I know this is uncool, but is because I'm not sure that there is a real sense of style in that music, and everything is, I don't know, I mean, it's just like a lot of the music that I find compelling right now has a cool art direction side to it too. And this is music that was halfway being made by the label, in my opinion, and like, I know that Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles, she wanted that song to be piano only, and the label wrestled her into having the orchestral instrumentation in the drums, So I'm just saying it's very polished, very clean, not necessarily very raw. So but I still love it. It's candy. Basically, my feeling is that I believe that it's okay for artists to make compromises in pursuit of money or fame if they're, I think if that's what you do, then that's what you do. There will always be a market for it. It's not the choice that I would make, but what kind of rubs me the wrong way is this idea that criticizing that is wrong. And so, that's why I said something. And in retrospect, I just, I watched those guys, fans, be mad at them for weeks, and I was like, maybe I didn't need to do that. Maybe I didn't need to but I just had seen that Idol audition and, or not audition, sorry, that Idol performance, and thought it was rough, and I saw them complaining about how it wasn't fair that people were knocking people for making sellout-y decisions, and I just got so worked up, and I was really caffeinated. But in retrospect, I don't need to, make fun of them. I don't know. I started doing a lot of SoundCloud digging recently, and I had this week of just looking at new music and clicking on finding an artist I liked, and then seeing who they liked, and going on all the, checking out all the artists that they were into, and I just went really deep in this rabbit hole of music. And in fact, the folder that contains all the MP3s for this mix is entitled Rabbit Hole. But I just went really, really deep, and there are people out there that are making really, really cool electronic music that I think that there very soon will be a big audience for, that no one is listening to at the moment. And there's a lot of people who have been really closely following EDM and listening to the main stage type of acts. And more you see those people trickle off, and they're starting to listen to techno and deep house and house. And I think that this music will captivate them even more. I see a lot of people listening to like cooler and more credible genres, and sometimes I question how much they're really into it. I think that a lot of this new electronic music I'm finding is really suitable listening music, which I'm just excited. I'm hearing a lot of great new stuff. And I feel like I'm seeing more art in it. But I think a lot of that it's entirely possible that that's just me having lived in the EDM bubble for a while. This could have existed the whole time. But I'm watching some of these artists blow up. Wave Racer, I think, is the really obvious example of an artist who is like very SoundCloud-y and making music that has a very niche nostalgia to it, like N64 type sounds. And he's doing so well right now. I'm just very excited about that genre of music. And with that being said, I have no desire to like align myself with that movement or like try to become a part of it or put those guys on at all. In fact, I really want that to be its own thing, and I want to have my own identity. But I just, as an observer, as someone who cares about electronic music, I'm excited to be finding new stuff that I'm enthusiastic about again.